Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 4 here at the After Hours Gaming League Season 3 Semi-Final number 1 between Storm8 and Amazon. We've seen some pretty cool games, of course, seen some interesting openings in a PvP. We saw a very quick tech game in a PvT, and then we just saw a Zerg vs Zerg match that actually did go to the meta stage, but unfortunately one of the players was unable to keep up in the production and thus fell down, giving Amazon the 2-1 lead at the moment. He's going to try and bring it back here on Whirlwind, one of the bigger maps in the map pool at the moment. It is Storm8's Red Terran player, Terran, yeah, of course the aptly named player right there if I've ever seen one. Down at the bottom right hand side is his opponent a long way across the map, playing for Amazon as their random player, one of the only random players in the league. I think we've got 2, maybe 3 players that have actually played in some of the games. It is the Rage Cage, and he has spawned as our blue Zerg player down here, and we'll see what he gets up to. Is it one of his better races? Is it one of the worst races that he plays? Who knows, but I'm sure he is going to be very good at it because both of these guys are looking to try and secure a win. Of course, Terran is going to be looking to try and just even up the scores here. Going to be starting out with just a standard sort of quick racks play. His opponent is going to look to take the lead to 3-1, and then of course put Amazon in the hot seat to take out this set. Of course, best of 7, meaning that it is a race to 4. So we'll see if the Rage Cage is able to do something about that and really help out the team, or if Storm8 is going to start a comeback. We'll find out very soon. So Whirlwind is our map. We've got a very, very large map. Of course, as we can see here, our Zerg player easily able to take this expansion very quickly. You often do see in the higher level leagues, we've got the supply depot to help block off the ramp if you are obviously a Terran or a Protoss player. Not for the Zerg players out there, but it is a very, very long way to scout out. As we can see, Terran is only going to just now pick up that his opponent is a Zerg, and he's going to just eventually just scout through here, pick up that it is going to be a blue Zerg down here. Here he goes. He's going to see that, and then he's going to say, alright, it's going to be a Zerg player down here. We're going to need to do something about that. How am I going to play it out? Of course, a lot of players have certain builds that they use against randoms. You often see a lot of people who will open up a very safe style. They'll say, alright, I'm going to play safe because it's a random. I don't know what he's going to spawn as initially until I scout him. So you're just going to be very careful about what's going on. And it looks like we actually will have Terran going to a very quick 2 racks here. This could be a very interesting play coming out of him. He scouted out that his opponent will have gas, will have the spawning pool there as well. And we also see an Evo chamber coming up very quickly here from the Rage Cage. Interesting to see that pop up so soon. And for the time being, we haven't actually seen Rage Cage get across and scout out what his opponent is up to. Unfortunately, this drone is not going to have a good time getting inside the main base. Of course, we can see there is that full wall off at the front. Stim starting off very quickly here. The third rack's being built right at the front door here. I'm not sure if that's perhaps the best idea from Terran. Sorry, he's actually going to reveal that there are those extra racks there, and in fact opens the door and says, "Please come on in." Reveals that there are those extra racks there. So if we just have a quick look at the vision from Rage Cage, he was able to see that. That is a very big tell of what's going on. You need to be very, very careful about this particular Terran player. He's going to be going up for some either some very early pressure. There are a couple of builds that go off one base. There's one, this one actually doesn't necessarily need to go off one base. It can go off 2, but there is a 9-minute push that consists of Stim Marines, a couple of Marauders, and maybe even a Hellbat or 2, and this can be a very, very powerful thing. It hits generally before roaches can get to a dangerous number, and of course it hits before mutas can come out, not to mention you've got a lot of Marines, so this may be what Terran is looking for. In fact, oh, well, he has gone for a starport, so I was going to say it is looking more and more likely that he is going to go for it, but the fact that he has picked up a second tech lab and is only now just grabbing that reactor says to me that he may look for this one base push behind a little bit of pressure, but I doubt he's going to get across in time. The big issue about doing these sort of one base openings for a Terran player is that the map is so ridiculously large. Look at all this distance. That's just from halfway across the map that you need to that we've scrolled across there. So that's a pretty long distance to get across. Of course, medevacs with their ignite afterburners do help out with getting across a little bit quicker. So what we may see is perhaps a couple of medevacs coming out and some dropping coming out from Terran. But what he certainly does need to do is get a a command center started as quickly as possible. I'm a little bit worried about the position he's in right now. It looks like a Ling is just going to come across and say hello. Almost getting through the front door yet again. Terran, unfortunately, his door control is perhaps not where he'd want it to be right now, but he has now got a Widowmine at the front door to protect against any possible early attacks. Of course, he may be thinking, you know what, I'm playing against a random player. A lot of random players like to try and end the game a little bit quicker than you would normally see. So perhaps he's just thinking, alright, well, he might want to try and throw down and come across the with some roaches and with some banelings and try and see what he can do very early, but unfortunately he hasn't actually scouted out what's going on just as of yet. Our Zerg player is now up to a total of 28 drones, just taking it slow, not necessarily going nuts and picking up, 60 drones straight off the bat. He's just being very careful, got some banelings out, got those links as well, and he's also, he has finished up the +1 to the melee upgrades now as well, and he's just now going to start to kick in and pick up that extra gas. So we see the Rage Cage playing very safe. I do like how he has done that against an opponent who has been sitting on one base for a very long time. Would like to see a Ling perhaps just sitting out the front door of the Terran player to see what he is up to, but it looks like a couple of medevacs are going to be the first play from Terran. He's got Widowmines and just the one Widowmine. We've got a couple of Marauders and a lot of Marines going to be coming in with this attack. They are neatly weaving their way through the middle section of the map, avoiding the Xel'Naga Watchtower vision there, and then just avoiding the vision of that Overlord as well. And it looks like he is going to try and drop down this side here. Of course, this is a very open path to try and come in across this map. This is very much why you don't see mech too much on this map, just because of actually, where's the arrow? There it is. Just because of the abilities to try and drop in these kinds of things. Of course, all races can do this against the Terran who's trying to mech, but we do see that the drop now coming through, dropping out some of those Marines, but the Lings and Banes are now coming across. They will get across in time. Widowmine, is it going to be able to burrow in time? Yes, it does. Gets down and doesn't get a good shot off. No. Unfortunately, actually activating on that Overlord there. Just Rage Cage was lucky enough to get out of position just in time. So looks like Terran is going to be a little bit, unfortunate with his attack there, not really getting anything done at all. As we can see, the units lost tab does favour, of course, the Terran player, but I mean, that's just some Lings and a couple of Banes, so not really too much trouble for him to lose those kinds of units, but he is going to beef up the Ling count, has also got the Spire on the way as well, along with the +1 to Carapace, so I'm thinking that we may see Mutiling Bane coming out of our Amazon player here, looking to try and take the score to the 3-1. We'll see if he's able to do that with a Mutiling Bane style, a very common sort of thing to see in the Terran matchup, and then you, in the ZVT matchup, then you take up towards the Ultralists or perhaps even Broodlords. I doubt we'll see Broodlords on this map, just given the fact that this map has massive wide open spaces, and as we said before, it takes a very long time to get to across to your opponent. But now we can see more drops continuing on. Terran trying to do his best. Back at home, he hasn't really gotten that natural mining just as of yet. His work account currently sitting at 35, so it's not exactly flourishing right now, but I'm sure once he finishes up with this micro, he'll be able to get that natural base started. But for the time being, he's actually just starting to fall behind. We've now got a 45 drone count up for our blue Zerg player, the Rage Cage. He's going to pick up gases number 5 and 6 at the third base, and then throw down a couple of spines for defense, and he's going to be sitting very comfortable right now with upgrades now coming along. We've got +1 on the ground Carapace just about to finish up. We'll also see an infestation pick coming along, allowing him to grab the Hive Tech and perhaps go a little bit higher as well, picking up things like, as we said, Ultras are very good on this map. Ultras have pretty much just rose to prominence in Heart of the Swarm straight away. You can sort of, it's really weird, you look back on perhaps like day one sort of replays from some of the Zerg players, and you see them going to Broodlord Infestor and then losing some of the games and these kinds of things. It's actually quite funny, and then you just see them slowly start to progress over to the Ultralist. But now we do see those Mutas now coming out. Of course, a decent amount of creep spread here just at the front door of the Rage Cage, so he is going to have that little bit of extra movement speed around this area, but these Mutas are now going to come across, and an Overseer going to have a quick peek and see what's going on, sees the two Widowmines and says, alright, well, I can't really attack into this this mineral line here because the Terran player is well protected against these Mutas initially. and we'll see if he is going to try and come across. A couple of other paths are now also sort of blocked off for the Zerg player. He may be able to squeeze by in this area here if he can keep clear of that radius of the Widowmine. He might be able to get inside the main base here, but there are still a couple of extra turrets, as you can see, just on the edges of the cliff there, able to defend against those mutas if they try and come through the main base. But at the moment, Rage Cage just starting to beef up the unit count as well, picking up 30 Zerglings, plus 2 to melee, plus 2 to Carapace, also being researched right now. And with the Hive on the way at the 14-minute mark, he's going to have the options of putting on some pressure very soon, and it looks as if his opponent is actually going to come for the pressure right now. Actually, still does not have combat shields. That's wait, that's... Oh, wait, sorry, he does. My bad. I was looking at that Marine, and he was next to his Marauder buddy, and I couldn't see the shields. But it is, of course, done. We've got a Hellbat thrown in the mix as well to throw out that extra damage against those Lings. Of course, these Hellbats do a wonderful amount of damage. 30 damage against light units. Not too bad at all. And we'll probably see that Terran is going to move out very soon. He's just making sure that he's very protected against these mutas, which are starting to, come out. But, there's not really too much investment by Rage Cage here. He's sitting at just a total of 5, and pretty much the rest of his gas has gone into getting his tech up and running. As we said, the 2-2 is just on the way now. He's also got that Hive just about to finish up, and now with the gas being saved, I think he is going to switch into the Ultra Tech very soon. We'll probably see an Ultra Den be thrown down somewhere around here in one of these spaces somewhere. But Adrenal Glands, and then also +3 to the melee weapons, and there is the Ultralisk Cavern. So he is going to come across with that, but we will have a fight in the middle of the map finally, so we get back into the action here. Zerglings coming across, trying to surround the units there. The Baneling stuck at the back. Good split out, pulling out the Marines out to the backside there, but unfortunately, the Banes just have their way with those anyway, and it looks as if Rage Cage has just taken a pretty big win there. Of course, he does have these 5 remaining mutas up in the sky, and with his Terran opponent very, very worried about the threat of that mass Mutalisk, which we do tend to see a little bit more these days in Heart of the Swarm. It looks as if he has left quite a lot of his forces back at home. Of course, with Widowmines all over the place. We've also got just so much investment into turrets, but we're still at a total of 5 Mutalisks. So that is a really nice play, whether it was intentional or not. He's just pretty much fooled his opponent into thinking that there's going to be a large amount of mutas out on the map. And just speaking of which, fooling his opponent, we have seen that the Terran has scouted out what's going on, knows that the Lair's there, but does not know about the Hive just as of yet. So that's now finished up, and of course the chitinous plating being researched there at the Ultralisk Den. Going to see some Ultras now pop out. 4 are on the way, and adding that in to the 3-3 that is going to be completed for all of these ground units very soon. Things are going to start to get very, very tense for our Terran player from Storm8, and we'll see if he's going to be able to hold up his side of the match here. But of course, he's going to need to scout out that these Ultras are about to pop out. He's going to need to make sure that he has the adequate defenses against these kind of things, whether it be some tanks or whether it be some Marauders, just sort of adding that into the MMM mix. We'll see if he is able to get that out. Of course, actually, one thing I didn't consider is Widowmines. You can use these guys with their massive damage against the Ultras if you've got large clumps of the Widowmines, and they can be quite successful in dealing with those Ultras. But we'll see if he is able to get some of these out. Building a second factory, getting that extra reactor up, and now continuing to bring out lots of Marines and Marauders here. Hellbats are also on their way, and he is going to go for a second push. There is a huge amount of medevacs here in this big force that is currently pushing across the map for Terran, and he may look towards taking out this base down at the side. He hasn't actually scouted that out just yet, but actually, yes, he will. A money scan there right on top of those drones, so he will be able to push across, and it looks like the Ultras now being revealed here for the Terran player. He's coming across, and the Ultras coming across with a sign around their necks saying free hugs, and they just obliterate every single thing that was there for the Terran player. And with these 5 mutas that have still been out from the start of the game, they are still doing a good amount of damage against some of these medevacs that are here. But now we see that Rage Cage is starting to push his way across the map. He's done a wonderful job of putting these Overlords out and blocking off some of these expansions. I really do like when Zerg players are able to get that going through this middle section of the game. But now, I don't think this this planetary is going to stay up too long. Unfortunately, with 6 Ultras bearing down, 4-3 on their upgrades right now, about to kick up to 5-3. Those guys have just laid waste to that planetary, bits of it now falling down in the crevices of the map. But Rage Cage in a very perfect position for him right now. He's up to a total of 76 workers, mining off almost 8 gases. He's just picking up 7 and 8 right now. But 74 workers for him. Of course, his opponent sitting at 59 SCVs right now, but unfortunately, well, we'll see if he is able to establish a third base. This is going to be the very difficult thing here for Terran, and it looks like he's just going to decide to head across the map, igniting afterburners here. We'll catch off this this 5th base across to the side here. Rage Cage, maybe he should be able to defend that. He's sort of deciding whether he actually needs to defend it. For the moment, it looks like no, but there will be a drop-off just here to the side. The Ultras and the Lings looking to head back, but the main drop now coming through the 4th base here. Not going to drop off, and it looks like the... oh no, these medevacs, both of them falling down. Unfortunately, the mutas have, the count of the mutas has been beefed up quite a bit, now taking it up to a total of 8, and they were able to lay waste to those medevacs as they attempted to drop through the main base. But Terran now on the back foot. He's trying to get out a whole bunch of these Widow Mines to try and deal with the large count of those mutas and also the Ultralists that are out on the map now. But I wonder if it will be enough. His opponent now picking up a 5th base down in the bottom left-hand side. He's of course got good vision across the entire map here, just covering basically everything apart from his opponent's little corner of the map right now. But he's going to have a quick look up there as well. Widow Mines are going to come across and see what they can do at defending this base here, and Overseer going to have a quick look. He will be able to sort just out of range there, but the Changeling comes through, and a Widow Mine is soaked up by the Changeling there. So a little bit unfortunate for Terran here, and the units now just barging their way through. Widow Mines are actually doing a really decent job taking out pretty much all of those mutas there, but unfortunately there is just so much here for Terran to try and take care of. There are 10 Ultralists in this pack of units now just waddling their way through the Terran side of the map, and I would not be surprised if Rage Cage just starts off, yeah, just 36 Lings are on their way. 14 more mutas are being built right now. Mined out in the main and almost 9 mined out at the natural, but I mean, he's got complete control of this game right now. And we'll probably see Rage Cage just get all his forces together, of course, adding in these extra Lings and the mutas that are no doubt going to fly their way across. And unfortunately, the command center found a nice prime real estate location, but unfortunately, it's a bit of a bad area. The Ultralists have come across and have taken care of that. Rage Cage in a powerful position. The mines at the 3rd base are attempting to do what they can to defend his position, but I think that Rage Cage is just going to waltz his way inside the natural base here. And with 4 Marauders, a couple of Marines, and pretty much that's it to defend here for our Terran player from Storm8. He is going to lose everything here. Widow Mines trying to burrow to get in there and get some defensive pressure going, but unfortunately it is not enough. The Ultras now just working their way inside. Good game from Terran, and that takes the lead to 3-1 right now as 7,000 players leave this game. And we will see. Well, game number 5 is about to come up, and we'll find out if Storm8 is able to bring it back, because they will be on the ropes right now, or if Amazon is going to take the victory and lead themselves into the grand final of the After Hours Gaming League. Stay tuned, we'll get to that match in just a moment.